Good morning. Call the Wednesday, April 9th meeting of the Criminal Justice Committee to order. Start with roll call, please.
Mr. Hess?
Present.
Mr. Lowy?
Present.
Mr. Carrico?
Present.
Mr. Swanson? Mr. Long?
Present.
Mr. Hunter?
Present.
Ms. Andrade? Ms. Armour Earps? Ms. Monday?
Present.
Ms. Rittman McEmmey?
Present.
Ms. Amber Turner?
Present.
Mr. Marion? Mr. Crutcher?
Present.
Mr. Nims?
Present.
Ms. Denise Turner?
Present.
Mr. Alexander Hildebrand?
Present.
We do have a quorum.
Take a motion to allow Miss Monday in for Zoom.
Motion to table? No.
I got Mr. Lowy here and Miss Turner from Kankakee. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay.
Thank you.
I have no public comment. Is there any public comment at this time? Any public comment? Approval of the minutes from March 12th, 2025. Take a motion to approve. Mr. Carrico, second by Ms. Turner from Moments. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Up next, Chief Judge. Good morning, sir.
Just a couple things to report on this morning. The House Bill 3363 has passed out of the Judiciary Committee, and this is what we're calling the Public Defender bill. I think I mentioned it last month, and there's been some discussion about it. The main objection has been taking the ability to appoint the Chief Public Defender away from the judges, the circuit judges, and put that in a commission in Springfield. So they've established this commission of 11 members, 4 appointed by the governor, 4 appointed by the legislature, and 3 appointed by the Supreme Court. And those 11 then would select from people for the Chief Public Defender's job when there's a vacancy, and they would one change that was made, because the chief judges voted almost unanimously to oppose the legislation, and then we had a subcommittee meet with Representative David Vela, who was the sponsor of the bill, and we're able to make a few changes in the bill itself to have some input from a committee of local people that would be involved with the selection of that public defender for that county. So it does look like they're moving forward with a state-sponsored public defender organization, similar to what they've done with pretrial services, and what as far as the county is concerned, we get a reimbursement right now for about 80% of the public defender salary, and they also passed a bill a couple years ago that allocated $10 million to the state of Illinois to be divided up amongst the public defender offices. Kankakee gets $115,000 of that money, and that's been used to, it's not supposed to replace the county money that supports the public defender's office. It's supposed to supplement it. They're supposed to think outside the box and come up with ways to improve the public defender's budget and expenditures for things that might not be covered previously. So that's in the works. I'll keep you informed on that. Where it could affect our county is that one of the provisions of the bill is that this commission will have set standards for number of cases that a public defender is supposed to handle. I mean, Ed, I know Ed's not here, but he can give those stats that the public defenders in Kankakee handle a tremendous amount of cases. So we may have to hire more people because the commission says that you need more public defenders. And if they tell us that, they're not giving us any money. So it's an unfunded mandate, as a lot of things coming out of Springfield. Yeah, surprise.
Yeah.
And then the other thing that's going on is we're working with courthouse issues. We have some money from the state, so we're going to be looking at some finishing the renovations there, taking care of the issues that we have with the elevator, and so you'll be hearing more about that, but that's all state money. Okay, any
Questions, Mr. Hunter?
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Chief Judge, I was wondering, with respect to House Bill 3363, who's carrying the water? Who's the chief sponsor for this bill?
It's David Vella.
Bella?
Mhm.
Okay, I think I heard you say David. Now, can you tell me a little bit about him and what his background is? Do you know?
No, I don't know him. I've not met with him.
Okay. Okay,
Nope.
thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Lally?
What,
Your Honor, just out of idle curiosity, do you know if there are current state employees that'll be on that commission, or will they be hiring outside to vet or to select?
Yeah,
or, or do we not?
we
know?
don't know. It just says appointed by the governor. So
thanks a lot, Tom.
okay. Thank
Any
you.
other questions? Thank you,
you.
sir. Up next, Circuit Clerk's Office, Ms. Cianci. In the package, you have a copy of the February and March reports. Take a motion to combine and approve them. Ms. Turner, second by Mr. Lally. Comments on your report?
Good morning. As you'll notice, I brought the February and March reports because last month we were having problems with getting the reports to work. So we now have the February report, and we were able to disperse $280,511. And then in March, it was $282,395. I don't have the collections report today. We kind of had a timing issue with with Harris, so I'll have both reports for next month on that.
Any questions on our reports? We have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. What else?
Well, just things are still moving along. We are meeting regularly with Tyler, you know, fixing issues and stuff like that. I mean, it's just a work in progress. So,
Any other glitches?
well, every day there's something, but nothing that we aren't able to.
Surprise.
Yeah. So we're working on it.
Questions for Sandy? Mr. Long?
Thank you. Just a general question. We're looking at a little bit different format that we're getting from you. General trend is down in collections.
Probably, yeah.
Do we,
Do
do we know how much?
Not
What percentage maybe? Or?
No, I could. I mean, we can work on that. I can't tell from this right now.
It was easy on the old reports. We could kind of see it pretty easily, but I'd be interested in knowing that.
Which of old reports? What do you mean?
The way you used to report it in the graph kind of thing.
Oh, that was just something I did every once in a while, but that was with the collections. That wasn't with the regular.
Right.
So I can do that when I do the collections report.
Yeah, that'd be great to know. We kind of gotta, I think we kind of gotta start watching how things are.
Yeah.
So.
When I did talk to the representative from Harris, he said this last month was a better month, but I don't know what, you know, on his side what that means. I can look.
Thank you.
Sure.
And Mr. Hunter?
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Sandy,
Yes.
with the implementation of Tyler, have you done any assessment? I'm sure you would probably know. Are there any trends in terms of attrition, turnover at all? Or not?
Not yet. We're still working on cleaning up the files from before and getting things caught up. So as far as, you mean shrinking the population of my office, kind of attrition?
Turnover, attrition.
Yeah. I haven't hired anybody new. I've filled the spots that are required to be filled, like in the courtroom. You know, I have positions that I've needed for those. But as far as hiring anybody else, I haven't really done that. So, I mean, we're keeping it at status quo.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions?
Thank you very much.
Okay. Up next, State's Attorney's Office, Mr. Rowe. In the package, you have a copy of the grand jury report and the grand jury statistics report. Take a motion to combine and approve them. Ms. Andrade and
Looks
Mr.
like
Carrico.
Freshman, look at his haircut.
Good morning, Jim.
Morning.
He does.
Comments?
You can see we're up to 176 indictments this year in grand jury. We, at the bottom of that page, we've started now including how that compares to the past 2 years. So we're a little bit barely below last year and quite a way ahead of, unfortunately, 2023. Felony domestics continue to lead in the grand jury stats, unfortunately. And I know we talk about that every meeting, but that is still a concern here in Kankakee County. Those are either repeat offenders, strangulation cases, or where they've caused great bodily harm. Anyone have any questions about
Questions on the
grand jury
reports?
stats?
We have a motion, a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Yeah, just to address Mr. Long's question about collections, Springfield has taken every tool out of the toolbox in collecting fines. There used to be a consequence, a license, maybe you wouldn't be able to renew it if it was expired, it could be suspended. We could put those debts into the Illinois Debt Recovery Program, IDROP is what it's called, and it would take it out of their taxes. If they were a state employee, it could garnish a paycheck, and they've taken those abilities away from us. So it is literally a voluntary payment program at this point, which makes it difficult, to say the least. In addition to the efforts of Harris & Harris, which I know our circuit clerk works closely with them, we have a paralegal up in our office, Desiree Gore, who has put a lot of hours over the years in. Sandy, I think she was up to maybe $600,000, if I'm 691, so almost $700,000 that she has, just through the paperwork process, having people come into court. Judge Cunnington had set up a collection call. So we've had some success in collecting, but you're talking $700,000, and I think we've had her doing that now for 8 years. So it is a chore. The state of Illinois has made it nearly impossible to make the criminals pay for the criminal justice system. They've shifted all that onto the backs of the taxpayers. We've met with other collection companies in the past. We meet regularly with Harris & Harris, but we're running out of options on ways to get people to pay those fines. So hopefully, that sounds good that it was up a little bit, but I mean, we used to collect, I think, what, $10,000 sometimes a month through our internal collection, and then I see months now where it's $300. So at some point, you've got to wonder whether the effort, whether it's worth the effort. But we're trying. We're trying our best to get that money. Lastly,
hang on,
yeah. Yeah.
I'm not questioning the efforts. I know that everybody's out there trying to do what they need to do to keep us going. My general thought is we're looking at the numbers going down in several different places as far as the income for the county, as well as the fines and the bed space, etc. So we're just trying to keep an eye on the money and make sure that there's plenty to do our basic functions.
On paper, there is a substantial amount of money that is owed to the county from court fines. Actually collecting those amounts is a whole other thing.
Yes.
Yeah, there's a lot out there.
What else, sir?
Mr. Coughlin was telling me he felt a little neglected yesterday. It was International Be Nice to Lawyers Day. And lawyers have contributed a lot to this country. 6-minute increments. Who doesn't want to live in 1/10 of an hour? 47-page disclosure on a shampoo bottle. And we made the phrase "respectful, Your Honor" a nice way to say you're wrong. So please be nice to Mr. Coughlin today to make up for it.
John, would you like to make a comment? Thank you.
That's it. Thank you.
You got a question here.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, Miss Andrade, I'm sorry.
Are there any new updates that we should be informed about the safety yet?
So Representative Haas has been a real champion for trying to push bills to add non-detainable offenses to the detainable offenses list. Soliciting sex with a minor, apparently those that voted for that law don't think that you should be detained if you do that. failing to register as a sex offender, aggravated battery to a teacher, to a nurse, to a police officer, to a senior citizen, to a disabled person. None of those are detainable unless they suffer great bodily harm. She has proposed bills to add those offenses to the list of detainable offenses, and Springfield, quite frankly, the Democrats run all the committees, and they're not voting any of those bills even out of committee. They are all just dying there. So it seems that they have no interest in moving some of the worst type of offenses into the detainable offenses category. She's also tried to propose bills that would increase sentences for people who commit some violent crimes. You know, in Illinois, a hate crime is a class 4 felony. She proposed a bill, because we had a case that happened here in Kankakee County where an individual was driving in a car. He saw an African-American couple with a child in their car, pulled a gun on them, pointed it at him in a road rage incident, fled. Police caught him. He went from Bradley up into Manteno. They caught him. He said, well, I thought they were protesters. He was charged with a hate crime. That's a class 4. Pointing a gun at someone is a class A misdemeanor. It's aggravated assault, which is also not detainable, by the way. Representative Haas proposed a bill that would make, when you commit a hate crime against a child with a firearm, which is what happened there, you point a gun at a car that's got a kid in it in commission of a hate crime, class X felony. Doesn't even get out of committee. So, you know, they're saying one thing and they're doing another.
So what's a way for us to be
Use your
able to
mic,
help?
will you please, Ms. Ingram?
What's a way that we could help her to back up?
You know,
What she needs?
calling the state reps and the state senators that are blocking these bills, the chairs of those committees in Springfield, you know, ringing their phones off the hook. Maybe, I don't know if it'll make a difference, quite frankly, because I can't imagine that someone would think that someone who solicits sex with a minor shouldn't be detained in jail, right? That's a sick mentality, anybody who believes that, but that's the prevailing wind in Springfield right now. So I don't know what could move some of these bills forward for her. I mean, no probation for sex offenders. Representative Clunan filed that. Representative Parkhurst filed that. Representative Haas has filed that every single session, multiple times. Never even gets out of committee. Thanks for getting me started.
How's your blood
Happy Lawyer's
pressure?
Day.
Up next, the Public Defender's Office, Mr. Pennewick. He is not here. Take a motion to approve his reports by Mr. Lally, second by Ms. Turner from Kankakee. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Please keep Ed in your prayers. He's lost a family member. That's why he's not here today. Morning, Tom.
Morning.
Public, or probation. Mr. Latham, monthly report, take a motion to approve that. Mr. Hunter, second by Mr. Marion. Comments on your report, Tom?
No comments on the report, unless there's any questions.
Any questions? We have a motion second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
All I have is today, or tomorrow, well, today and tomorrow, I'll have a meeting regarding our budget for state fiscal year 26. And as you know, we receive allocation, salary reimbursement from the state at 100% right now. We only have 2 county funded positions in the circuit. So I think we're gonna be okay for state fiscal year 26. 27, I start getting I'm gonna be concerned with along with other issues in the state, you know, the cost of pretrial is gonna start bubbling up here. And so we'll see. Hope to know more for the May meeting. So, where that's going, but I'd like to keep it 100%, obviously. So I'll keep you posted. The other thing, kind of to piggyback on Jim and Sandy, we collect a probation service fee every month, up to $50 a month for adults. We can still collect that. However, the use of it, they're starting to restrict the use of it. So over the next 2 or 3 years, it's 2.5 years, it'll kick in fully. We're simply moving more to the general and less out of the probation fee fund. Because what we use it for now, on some parts we can't, and that's gonna have to be move over to the general fund. They gave us 3 years to do it. I believe personally that the fund balances are gonna grow in that account, and that's gonna be used against us to say we're charging these people too much. That's my thought, because the money's gonna grow. It's gonna sit there. So I'll keep you posted on that if there's any changes, but that's also another problem brewing down an issue, I should say, that we're gonna be looking at. So.
They're not defunding anything, but they're making it so you can't use anything either.
And I think
Really
before,
remarkable.
what it was used for was obviously put together by me, approved by the chief judge, and was appropriate. And, but they're really just restricting the use of that and taking it out of local control, really, and kind of, and no doubt, I can look at the numbers that the balance is going to build. I can see what we're going to use it for, and that money's going to be sitting there with, so we're not losing we're still charging them, but and still collecting it, but the use of it's going to be much more difficult. So,
Questions for Tom? Mr. Hunter?
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Tom, in past meetings, you've given us legislation updates, and I know, and my mind's a little foggy in terms of the impact it was going to have on you guys with respect to local autonomy.
Well, right now, again, a meeting tomorrow is all about the legislation. I haven't seen too much where on our end that affects us as of right now. But again, we're meeting about that tomorrow. Really, a lot of their focus in my area seems to be on FOIA. It doesn't apply to the judicial branch, and they're kind of pushing that. There's several bills all the time to kind of push that, kind of chip away at that. But that's about it.
Any other questions?
No, thank you.
Thank you. Up next, the sheriff. Mr. Pax, you have a copy of the sheriff's monthly report. Take a motion to approve that by Mr. Lowry, second by Mr. Carrico.
Thank you, bro.
Good morning.
But is it really? Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Couple things on the report early on, and we'll talk revenue after we're done with talking about some numbers that are, I think, important from a law enforcement standpoint. As you can see by the report, our out-of-county numbers are significantly down from March of 2024. This time last year we had 327 out-of-county inmates, and today we have 236 in March. That is significant. When you talk about $90 per day per inmate, you're talking about $8,000 a day that we are missing out on. There's some reasons for that I'll get into here shortly. But you can see our local numbers have, in March of 2024, there were 240. We averaged 240. And in 2025, we're down to 214. Remember, and as I've always said, that in spite of the revenue that we bring in from a budget standpoint, we are still responsible for those 214 or 240 or any local inmates that we have, and there is a significant cost to those local. So what the out-of-county inmates do is basically reduce the cost of housing our own inmates. Skipping down, and like I said, we'll go back to this revenue issue because there are some things that somewhat make sense, even though they're probably not right, but they do make sense as to what's going on. One of the things about the Safety Act, and I know we talk about that a lot, there's obviously not any changes to it. There's not going to be any changes to it as long as the people in Springfield are there. As long as the governor's in his spot, they are going to continue to acquiesce to the criminals and screw the law-abiding taxpayer. So, but one of the things that we can't tell that doesn't change overnight is that the numbers that we're looking at and the things that we do and the things that we have said before the Safety Act was implemented. And one of those things was the number of warrants. Somebody misses court, they issue a warrant, they get picked up on that warrant. If that warrant is for a non-detainable offense, they get released. And if you look down under the sworn services under warrants, you see last month or last year in March, there were 121 warrants served. And in March of 2025, we've served 193. Think of the increase of those numbers. And this is something that we predicted and that we knew was going to happen. There is no accountability for somebody to show up to court. And I know people don't want to hear that because they think that we're giving out sensitive information. Let me tell you something. The criminals know more about the Safety Act and whether or not they're going to be detained than we do. So we're not giving away any secrets. So this wasn't rocket science. We knew this was going to be a problem. It's going to continue to be a problem, as I've said 100 times, if not more. Serving a warrant by law enforcement is one of the most dangerous functions we have. And it's going to be a matter of time before somebody else gets hurt or worse. And it's so frustrating for law enforcement, but I can tell you that our departments countywide, all of our municipal departments countywide are still continuing to work as police officers and do their job and doing a great job. And I commend all of our local law enforcement countywide for continuing to work through these times that we have that our state is more concerned about criminals than they are law-abiding citizens. So frustrating. It's just so frustrating. So that's just one. I mean, I don't want to, we'll continue to bore you with numbers as we move forward because they're not getting any better. So back to the housing. Well, why don't we take some questions, if there's questions on the report, and we can get past the report and go into.
Any questions? Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
So back to the bottom of the report under the revenue. If you look under housing back in 23-24, or as be fiscal year 24, the housing revenue was $9,843,720, which is a number that we can certainly live with. I think our county chairman and our vice chairman would agree that we could probably live with that number. We'd obviously want it more, but this year, our anticipated fiscal year 25 number of revenue is about $7,243,000. Similar back to, if you look back on that revenue line there on the bottom of the page, back to fiscal year 21. So you're talking about $2.6 million less in that revenue. And I think Mr. Long referenced the revenue coming into this county is down everywhere. And we're no exception. Now, why is that happening? Well, according to the Department of Justice, back in 2019, which actually those numbers aren't even on your sheet here, it's the year before, the Chicago District of the U.S. Marshal Service, the Department of Justice indicted 924. They had 924 criminal indictments. As you move down the line to 2024, last year, there were 396 criminal indictments. So you know, without getting into a lot of national politics, we can all figure out that the U.S. attorney's offices across the country, because this isn't locally in Illinois, this is everywhere, that they were given directives not to arrest people, period. And that's happened. It's not anything that we haven't seen before. We have always recovered at some point. How fast that will be now, I don't know. I do know that they have come out and said, we want people arrested in Illinois, in Chicago. American citizens. I'm not even talking about ICE yet, but we'll get to that in a minute. So that's a 58% reduction in indictments over the course of, what, 5 years? That's a lot. And what that means is there aren't those bodies for the U.S. Marshals to house anywhere. We're not the only county that houses for the U.S. Marshal. And all of those other counties that house, 4 or 5, I believe, those numbers are all down. So this isn't unique to Kankakee. This is not only statewide, but it's nationwide. Now, in addition to that, and the problem is that, and I'm sure you've all seen it because I've heard about it, about ICE being out and arresting people. And they are, apparently. But they are utilizing the U.S. Marshals. They are utilizing the DEA, the ATF. They are utilizing every federal agency to assist them with arresting those who are in our country illegally. Well, that's great, except that means they're not going out and arresting criminals in Illinois who are American citizens who we would be able to house. Instead, they are arresting a number of those who are here illegally that, as you all know, because of our illustrious governor, we can't house in Illinois. So that adds to it as well. So there are, you know, it's not that we're not calling every day. It's not that we're talking to counties, to feds every single day to find out if we can house for them. They're just not arresting people that we are able to house. And to give you a little history on the whole ICE issue, for those that may be new to the board or don't know, the New Way Forward Act passed in, I believe it passed in 21. And the New Way Forward Act basically was in addition to the Trust Act, which the New Way Forward Act prevents county jails in Illinois from housing those in our country illegally who are arrested by ICE. After an unsuccessful lawsuit filed by McHenry County and Kankakee County, our last ICE detainee left our custody in February of 2022. 2018, we averaged 156 ICE detainees at $90 per day, or $14,000 per day in revenue, or $5.1 million in revenue that we no longer have. So if you go back to 2018, and our last ICE detainee left here in February of 2022. However, there was a continued reduction knowing that we were not going to be able to house for ICE. Because of the New Way Forward Act, and Governor Pritzker continues to make our state less safe, and he doubled down by passing the Safety Act and signing the Safety Act. He has also cost Kankakee County over $15 million in the last 3 years of projected revenue. And when I talk about ICE out there arresting people, they're out there arresting people. And you want to know where they're housing these individuals? They're still getting housed. They're getting housed in Indiana and Wisconsin. So you all can thank our governor for costing this county over $15 million over the last 3 years. And I wouldn't even get into what Jim talked about the sex offenses that are non-detainable, because they are. Now you got me started, Jim. So what has that done for us? It's turned our jail into a revolving door. On Monday, and we mail out the custody list. I don't even know who all gets it. It's a list so long. There's people on there that probably worked here 20 years ago. We sent out a custody list. There were 22 individuals in custody on Monday morning. On Monday afternoon, 21 of them got out. That's our Safety Act, folks.
But they all paid bond.
No.
Oh.
Not a nickel. So the frustrating part on our end, as our revenues go down, and I've said this before, I said this 8 years ago when our numbers were down, the sheriff's office in the county rely on this revenue, right? And when the sheriff's office revenue goes down, that means that the whole county's affected, because in spite of what people think, that money doesn't go to me, doesn't go to our department, it goes to the county. And I've said before, and I'll say it again, for those old enough to remember the old nursery rhyme, Little Tommy Tucker, who's got to sing for his supper, that's the sheriff's office. When we don't bring in this revenue, we normally get punished. We got punished back in 2014 when we laid off 17 deputies. So our governor has basically cut off his nose to spite his face as these criminal aliens are arrested and being housed in Wisconsin and Indiana. And so, you know, that's where we're at money-wise. And I can tell you the other entity that we house for right now, Champaign County, is probably getting ready to start pulling back their inmates. I know that their building is almost done. I think they're working on hiring staff, which is obviously a huge issue in our line of work. We have been fortunate. Our jail administrators do a great job in recruiting, in getting people to work for us. But understand that with our numbers and where they're at, we have also tried to adjust our number of employees, and through attrition, not replacing, knowing that we may not need the numbers we need based on the number of inmates we have in custody. So if there's any questions, I'll certainly take them.
Question.
Hang on, I got Mr. Hunter first.
Well, I'll yield to Peggy. So.
Okay, Miss Monday.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So the only way to change any of this is perhaps new governor. Am I correct in that statement?
Well,
and
no,
then
because you still got the legislature. They're the, yeah.
Right.
And they're all in the state's gerrymandered so much that you'll never change it in our lifetime.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Mr. Hunter.
You know, I'm just surprised that you guys are just sitting here and sheriff's giving you this information. You almost should be falling out of your damn chairs in terms of revenue loss. The information that you provided to us is catastrophic, Sheriff. I mean, really. Have you sent this to Senator Sims at all? I know. I'm just saying. You know. I know you have tried month after month after month after month trying to interface with him, and fall on deaf ears.
Yeah.
He's one of the main players.
I mean, sometimes you beat a dead horse, and I just don't believe in beating a dead horse. So no, I have not tried to reach out to him, nor would he take my call anyway. So.
Wow. I mean, I don't. this is like nightmarish kind of data that you're giving us. And
Hate to be the bearer
I
of
know
bad
that
news.
you answered one of my questions. I was going to ask you about Champaign.
Yeah, they've really been a godsend for the last 3 or 4 years. I think we'll still have some, but just not as many. But you know, obviously that number has continued to drop a little bit. In addition to the issues with the Safety Act as well. I mean, there's people that, you know, are not getting detained after a while. So yeah, it's catastrophic at this point.
Let me ask you this. You know,
Microphones.
Yeah, with respect to the comments that you've made and the state's attorney, I mean, what kind of adverse impact does that have on your guys and your staff? With respect to the arrest these bad guys and their release, I mean, that's got to be very frustrating.
It is totally frustrating, and as I said, when you talk about the people who know the individuals are getting arrested. If I had a nickel for every time one of them said, well, I'll be getting out anyway, I don't think the county would be in financial, I don't think we'd have any financial problems if I had a nickel for every time somebody said that, because they know. I mean, there's no accountability, there's no responsibility, and a credit to Jim's office, our judicial system. I mean, they're stuck with what they're stuck with. I have business cards that we've passed out to a couple people that basically said, if you're frustrated because somebody didn't get locked up, don't blame the state's attorney, don't blame the police, don't blame the judges. Here's the governor's phone number, here's LG Sims' phone number, and here's Justin Slaughter's phone number. But again, they don't care. They're catering to the criminals. So
I hate to throw this on you, but
okay, don't.
for some of the new committee members here, what would it cost us just to run a jail if we didn't have any inmates?
So I believe our corrections budget right now is 12. Yeah, right around $12 million. It would still cost us $8 million to run our own jail. And the difference in cost is strictly because you don't factor in everything that you're doing, utilities. The only thing you're really adding you're adding some staff and you're adding food for the out of counties. So you already have staff in place for the 200 plus inmates we have. So there's still a cost. And we get some reimbursement back for transports and all that stuff. So it's still about $8 million. Yeah, medical care, obviously that would be reduced. But again, we've reduced that as low as it's ever going to get. Our medical, Katie does an outstanding job in getting our medical costs. We have 2 counties right now that are coming into our county and observing what our medical department does and what Katie does with billing, and looking to get away from contracting their medical care out, which they do now. And so we are kind of a model for what's going to happen really in the future of corrections medical. So that's it. Well, I got one more thing, and I do this on purpose because I don't want to make it so catastrophic as Mr. Hunter said. I want to end on a positive note. I know that. But these are good facts and data I'm going to give you right here. So most of you know we are part of a mental health pilot that is a statewide pilot program and has been quite successful. So far, which I would say we've been doing it for about a year. We have accepted 51 mental health inmates from other counties into our jail. These are all out of county people. 16 of those 51, or 31%, have been restored back to fitness with proper treatment and medication and sent back to their county of origin to face their criminal charges, go about their business, hopefully get better. 26 of those 51 have been transferred to a DHS facility. The reason this pilot program came to be was because of the shortage of beds that the DHS has. It was my suggestion to talk about a hub where you could get the more serious, those needing treatment quicker, kind of a triage type of thing for those of you in the medical field, to get those in a hospital bed sooner and treat the other ones kind of on an outpatient basis. In Kankakee County, we have had 15 inmates who have been accepted into the program. 7 of those, or 46%, have been restored to fitness and have then continued to go through the court process, and 3 have been transferred to a DHS facility. We've received referrals from over half the counties in Illinois. 54 counties in Illinois have either inquired or sent us inmates needing mental health treatment. We've assisted the state of Illinois, or DHS, by utilizing mental health treatment to restore those in custody back to fitness with treatment that is provided by Iroquois County Mental Health, and they are also contracted through DHS. So Kankakee County is not paying anything for the treatment of not only our local inmates, but these inmates that come in from other counties. And then we receive $150 per day per bed from the state of Illinois, which helps a little bit, which kind of makes these numbers that I just told you even worse, because, you know, without the money that we brought in from DHS, that number would be significantly lower. So, but a positive note on the mental health front, you know, that's a huge issue in society, as we all know. And, you know, the state doesn't have the beds, and those with mental health issues don't belong in jail. But in our jail, they are getting treated, they are getting services, and some of them are getting restored back to fitness where they can function in society again. So that's a positive thing. So,
Question?
That's all I got.
Ms. Andrade.
I want to go back to the Safety Act. I'm sorry. So they don't
Microphone.
they don't have to register as a sex offender. So being next to a school or a playground.
They do have to register. Sex offenders do have to register.
With the new Safety Act?
Oh, yeah.
But they're not
They just
required
can't,
to.
yeah, if they fail to register, you can't detain them.
Okay. Yeah.
Am I right, Jim? I'm not a lawyer. They stayed at a Holiday Inn Express last night.
Any other questions? Mr. Hunter.
Yeah, I'm just reflecting, Sheriff, the NGRI patients, where are they housed in DHS? Up north?
NTRI.
And not guilty by reason of insanity. NGRIs.
Oh, I don't even know.
Down south?
I would think they're housed in some facility, but I would say it's probably down south, maybe at Choate, which is way down south. I don't even know.
Or they're over at Chester.
Could be at Chester. Chester for the violent ones.
Yeah. And
Chester takes the violent ones.
Yeah. And what about Elgin? I think Elgin may be the other one too.
Elgin, we transport a lot to Elgin. So not only do we get $150 a day for housing, we also get money to transport. They reimburse us for transporting as well. So but yeah, all over the state, there's 3 or 4 that we utilize through DHS. All right, thank you, everybody.
Up next, Animal Control. Ms. Laird, in your package you have a copy of Carrie's monthly report. Take a motion to approve that. Ms. Turner, second by Mr. Lowry. Turner, moment. Morning, Carrie.
Good morning. Don't have any. We have lots of adoptable animals. I can give you that good news. So if you look at the annual statistical data on the second sheet, we took in 86 domestic animals, and only half of those were returned to owners. So the other half is in our care to take care of. So again, same thing, we're not returning a lot of animals to owners. A lot of the animals are staying in our care to find, you know, for us to find places for them to go. So we do have a lot of adoptable animals currently. Yeah, we are full and remain full. So
Anybody wants to adopt anything, they're available. Income.
Income is good. Yeah, I mean, we're staying steady for the previous years. Same thing. We do have revenue coming in from Mantino. We just signed a contract with them, so that'll be coming in shortly. So that'll be added to this total as well. So that's helpful.
Good.
Outside the report, May 3rd, we're doing a microchip clinic at Farmers Market. We do those probably 3 times a year. So that'll be 8 to 12, $15. Bring your dog. Come see us. We're there most of the day. I don't really have anything else in the report.
Any questions on our report? We have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
That's it.
Thank you. Mr. Gessner, the coroner's office. In the package, you have a copy of Bob's monthly report and the monthly receipts of money. Take a motion to combine and approve them. Mr. Carrico, second by Ms. Andrade. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Comments on your report?
Basically, I'm gonna have it short. We're doing pretty good. Our calls are still up, but the amount of autopsies the last 2 months have been a little lower. And also, I know in the month of April, we've already climbed a little bit past that 5 number already. Other than that, it's pretty all self-explanatory. I want to make a comment on suicides. You're talking about domestic problems there. We've had 4 suicides in the last few weeks already in the county here, so that's kind of a topic that I've talked to a number of people about. I don't know how to prevent that, but yet we'll talk a little bit about that in our education when we do the education. ODs are popped up a little bit this month here. We have 7 cases right now and 1 pending, which is good. The average age has dropped from 48 to 43. The youngest is 29. The drugs, naturally, fentanyl, but now it's changed a little bit now. It's gone to, as I always tell you, there's so many different fentanyls out there. People are getting those. Gone to acenol fentanyl, basically parafluoral fentanyl. It's more powerful than fentanyl itself. So we're seeing that, and meth is coming back pretty strong, and cocaine. So those are some of the topics. We started our education out there. We've already been out already to Olivet, criminal justice, and now we're hitting all the prom programs now to make sure the kids, and a lot of the kids are doing vaping, and you know how my feeling is on vaping right now, which we won in Kankakee, and we're working on Bradley, Verbonis, and the county. That's about all I had to report, other than the factor is that we're doing the best I can out there. So,
any questions on these reports? We have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
thank you. The only other thing that there is our hidden in plain sight trailer for all the new people that are out there. It's a trailer produced by not only the sheriff and state's attorney and myself. That's puts on what happens in a child's bedroom. You got to be 18 years and older. You can't. You can come in there, but not anything below that. To show you exactly where you hide things, and once you see it, it's unbelievable. Most people that see it go back and go through their kids' bedroom, and that's been a real big positive thing for us. Other than that, I hope we continue to come down on the ODs. That's my on my goal.
Mr. Hunter.
You know, I learned so much from this committee and some of the department heads who come and make presentations. You know, that information we get is important so we can share with our constituents. You know, I attend a lot of different venues, and I attended one in Kankakee City, and there were a lot of questions asked, and the aldermen couldn't even respond to the questions. They didn't know a damn thing about the questions that are being posed by their constituents. So former alderman, myself, Carl Brown, and Mayor Curtis had to respond to those. You know, because you cringe when the aldermen say, well, I'm still learning. I mean, everybody's still learning, but I just want to compliment you and Jim at the presentation you made at the Civic Auditorium. Reverend Jimmy Smith's program. Guys, you had to be there at the Civic Auditorium. It was like almost all the tables were full with individuals who were attending this. And there were different presenters, and I don't know if Jim or whomever bought a table with different players. A lot of folks there, a lot of prominent people there, a lot of supporters, a lot of recipients of those services were there. And I think you kind of tugged at our heartstrings in terms of the data that you provided. Could you just speak to that a little bit?
Well, I provided the data, but not only that, I was showing on the fentanyl, which Jim likes me to do this all the time. But I take a salt shaker and I just kind of do this when you have a grain of salt in there. It's just a few grains of that is lethal death in the world of fentanyl. And that, I can't tell you how many people came up to me to ask me to say that they were unbelievable what that does. And that's not the only drug, you know, that we have. I talked about that. I talked about different other things that we do throughout the county. And I think it's making a difference, as I say. Education and communications with a lot of, and working with Jim, going to this senior event that he has coming up here, which is a big factor there. We're going to bring our trailer out there too to make sure the seniors are taken care of, also with the medications that they keep. As I talked about, that's what they look for. They can take that, sell it on the street, chop it up, and smoke it, inhale it, whatever they're going to do, or even shoot in the main line. So, other than that, thank you very much for that comment there. I was pleased, and I'm sure Jim and the sheriff are all there for that. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Don't forget your pen.
It's a corner pin. You want it?
Oh, the last person I want to see is.
I do smile.
Is there any old business to come before the committee? Any old business, new business, Ms. Emming?
I just wanted, sorry.
Yeah.
I just want to remind, I've got a couple things going on for the month of May in our community. Thursday, May 15th is the police memorial in front of the courthouse. Just want to remind everybody for that. I believe it's supposed to be at 10:30, not exactly 100% sure.
Jim, do you know? 10:30.
Okay, great. Thanks, Jim. And then also Sunday, May 18th is the I Got Your 6 5K. This is for 2 KCC scholarships in criminal justice in memory of Sergeant Marlene Ritmanick and in honor of Sergeant Tyler Bailey. They're still looking for volunteers, sign-ups. It's a great time. I believe we had over 1,000 sign-ups last year. And from what I'm hearing, it's continuing to be better this year. So
great.
Thank you.
It's a good day, believe me.
That's Sunday, May 18th,
May 18th.
at 8 a.m.
Yep. Any other new business? Mr. Carrico. Motion to adjourn, second by Mr. Crutcher. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank